Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Toda Rabah Abiyah. Father, we bless you and we praise you, giving you all praise, honor, and esteem, Abba. Father, we thank you for your many blessings which you bestow upon your children. Father, we just thank you for another day that you've allowed us to see, another Shabbat that we are approaching. Father, I ask that you continue to bless your children, that you continue to be with us, that you order our steps, Abba, and place your Ruach within us, causing us to follow your laws, statutes, and commandments, and to have joy in our hearts, Abba, and to wait on you. Father, we thank you for every person that is on this call tonight and those that couldn't make it, those that are traveling in to observe your feast and your set apart time, Abba. Father, I ask that you bless the mouth of the Moreh, Baruck, that you give him a special word, Abba, to give to your children as he shepherds your flock, Abba. Toda Rabbi, blessed are you, Abba. Blessed is your name, Abba, and blessed is he that comes in your name, Abba, Yah. In the character of Yahushua HaMashiach, I pray. Hallelujah. Salah wa amen.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, Mr. Prakash. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to open the floor for a couple of halal yahs. If anyone has any praise they want to give to the Most High, we're going to open the floor for a few moments. For anyone that want to give any esteem to the Most High, if you have a halal yah moment. House of Yosef.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom, family. I just want to come here, give praise, the most honor to the Most High, the highest praise I can give. Just a little testimony. Just been the last couple of weeks been rough. I had a life-changing decision I made, and it was rough, and it's still rough. But I praise the Most High that is getting me through. I pray that He just gives me strength, endurance, just to move forward. I praise Yah for my mishmakah and spiritual and natural, because Yah just give me so much encouragement, so much strength, and I just love you, and I just praise Yah for y'all. So hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. All honesty be to the Most High, Yah. May the Most High continue to bless you, Akoti. Ima Audrey.
Shabbat Shalom. First of all, I'd just like to give Abba all honor and all praise and all esteem because he's worthy. And I just thank him for Yahusha, who he sent to shed his precious blood to redeem us back to him. And I thank you that he's watched over us all week long, that he's kept us, and we're online again celebrating another Shabbat. I had something unusual. Yah is just so awesome in how he operates and how he does things. I was supposed to meet an electrician one day this week. And generally what I do is I'll set my alarm so that I wake up early enough to get up to do my devotions and take my shower and do everything I need to do, because I had to travel like 45 minutes to meet the electrician. And I forgot to set my alarm. But Abba woke me up in the nick of time, and I had just enough time to brush my teeth, wash my face, on some clothes, and I was there on time to meet the electrician. And I just praise him and thank him for that, because he's always on time. I just give him all praise and honor. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High. All praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High, Yah. Baruch is Kodash's name. Well, I just like to give praise. If there's no one else, I'd like to give all praise, honor, esteem to the Most High for bringing us all into yet another Shabbat. Thank him for the time that we've been able to spend together this for Hanukkah, and that we're in another season of dedication, and for the things he's revealing to us that we need to change within ourselves to get our temples right, as we are the temple of Elohim. And I just thank him for his grace and his mercy upon us all. I would like to give praise to the Most High because I'm excited about the presentation tonight. And we know we've been going over Hanukkah and we've covered it in pretty much detail for the past month or so. We've been building up to the history of Hanukkah. The reason why there was even a reason for there being a dedication or a rededication because of taking the Torah away from us, from trying to have us stop circumcising our children and ourselves, and just all the things that happened to Israel. And while we're going through this rededication process, we've been in a society where we've been taught that we are Gentiles. And from the church perspective, thinking from your Gentile perspective, and we're Gentiles, and the way it's taught in the church, that's what the Jews do, or that was then, and this is now, and the laws are done away with. All these things we've been covering to this point. When you don't know who you are and the importance of who you are, sometimes you don't know the value of the Most High's word. And once you start identifying with the who you are and the whose you are, it means a whole lot more to you. And it should make you want to be even more dedicated to the Most High with realizing who you are. So I'm going to get ready to yield the floor over to my dear brother, Moreh Baruck. He will be presenting tonight. If you do, as I asked y'all last week, if you have your notebooks and things present, take notes, because this information, is plenteous, and it comes, you won't retain everything at once. So please take notes so that you can refer back to your notes. But it's very important for we as a people to understand who we are and whose we are, and the importance of the reason why we should be embracing the Torah, the reason why the Torah has been stripped from us and making us think that we should not keep the Torah. But once you understand, again, who you are and whose you are, and who we belong to, it just means that much more to you, and you desire to put it in your heart and to be dedicated to your Father. So with that, I'm going to yield the floor to Moreh Baruck. Did you already give him his abilities? Yeah, oh, he already got you. Yes, sir. Okay. So Moreh Baruck, if you are ready, we're going to go ahead and yield the floor to you. Shalom, shalom, my dear sister. How you doing? Shalom, good to see you. Hallelujah.
Shalom. To everybody, Moreh, Shabbat shalom to everyone. Y'all know me. I'm Baruch. This is Maisha Azaria. We here. Toda Yah, just for allowing me to come up here this evening. First and foremost, I'm giving honor to the Most High Yah for my life of Maisha, my Eladim, all your lives, your family's lives. Just thanking him for all that he's done, to the great king, I'm just giving honor and praise on this night. It's definitely an honor to be with everyone tonight to present this lesson. My brother, Moreh Sama, that's my op. I really appreciate the opportunity to even come on here and present tonight. And just giving the honor to the Most High for you, definitely deserve a double honor. So I definitely give you a double honor. All the elders on here, the Sarim on here, my brother Sarya Hannon, always, my brother, love you. Just thanking the Most High just for the opportunity to present tonight. So I'm not gonna further to hold up. Maisha's on here to help me out, to add to. Also, if you have any questions or whatnot, I'm gonna be doing the PowerPoint, so I may not be able to see your hand up. So I just ask that either the SAR or some Moreh or somebody definitely be watching that. Let me know. So if I can't see anything. So the presentation, Kag Simiyak, Chanukah or Hanukkah to everybody. I hope everybody's having an enlightening time, a time of growth. At first I was like, well, how does this fit in, to Hanukkah? But it all does. And one thing that came to my mind earlier was relighting the candle. Relight the candle. So sometimes things that we may know, although we know it, it's still like, it gets a little dim at times. And I think Maisha, she had a quick story based on what she was telling me when we went back over this particular presentation. I've done this presentation before, but when we went back over it, she had something to say that, in terms of this relighting account. Did you want to talk about that? About when you said, I needed that because of, yeah.
Yeah, because after so many years of being in this walk, sometimes you get complacent with the information. For me, you become complacent with the information and you become comfortable. And so we recently presented this information to our children because I was like, Baruch, I think it's time for them to hear the connections, because I believe they'll understand what it means to be who we are, and they'll be able to see the connections when you present this information to them. So while we're going through the presentation, I'm just like, wow, I really needed that. That was actually for me, because it reminded me of why it's so important for us to remain steadfast in this walk, remain steadfast in understanding where we are in this book and being able to pinpoint and show others. But more so, this information that Baruch is about to bring out tonight, I truly believe that this is something special for us. And it's not something that you would necessarily need to prove to anyone else. The proof is already there. The proof is in the pudding, but it's something that the Most High gave us special for us. So when he went over with the children, I was like, wow, it just basically reignited my fire, reignited the candle. And I was like, you know what? We needed this. So hopefully it'll do the same for you.
Okay. So, like I said, that's what I'm calling tonight, relighting the candle. There's a lot going on, and I don't know if anybody on here, you can raise your hand just to acknowledge. But has anybody been watching the series The Chosen on I forgot what network it is. I want to say Netflix or something, but it's called The Chosen. It's about Yahshua, Yahusha, right? Very interesting. I like it, but it's interesting. Okay, so I'm seeing people raising their hands, right? They got also another series called In the Days of Noah, right? And when you start seeing these things, what they're doing now, they're taking people in the land now, and they're starting to cast them for these roles and some people may think it's good, but it's actually still not acknowledging us. You see what I'm saying? So they're taking what I call the current look, and that's what they're putting on the screen now. Say, oh, we actually use a whole Jewish cast. And now you're looking, people that don't know, they're actually looking at this and they're going, wow, that's what Yahusha probably looked like. That's what Moshe looked like. And they're looking at that because they look like some of the people in the land today. So that could be very deceptive, right? It could be, and I'm not saying there are Israelites that do not look like that. What I'm saying is that could be very deceptive of what some of our ancestors look like, okay? Or them not looking like us, but looking like them and saying, oh, these are the people. There's an issue. Also, everything got to be done in spirit and in truth, right? So if somebody's not doing something in spirit and in truth, they're trying to hide something, okay? There's something that's being hidden here from us, right? We all know it because we're on the line and we know who we are. But sometimes, through time goes on, we forget, how to prove this. So if I said to you, prove to me that the Israelites was Black, off the top, oh, they were your color, they were melanated. Show me. How many scriptures and how many references could you come up with, you see what I'm saying, for them? Without fumbling or without going, well, all of them were. Look at what side they were. What could you come up with? You see what I'm saying? Sometimes because you're not used to doing this anymore, you get a little rusty. So this is just like a little reminder, something to help us. And then in light of the whole Kyrie, Kanye situation, right? Those are our brothers. They're trying to, I think my brother Moreh said something that was very key. He said the Most High calls a donkey to talk. So we remember when Bilam and Bilak, right? The donkey talked to Bilam, right? Most High calls even the donkey to talk. And he said sometimes a clown got to be used to let you know that you're in the circus. It's a circus that we're dealing with. So regardless of what you may personally think about these people, I can't say that's not the Most High putting a spark in us, not relighting the candle of our people that are in darkness. It's not just about you. This is about a nation thing. If it was just about you, Most High could take us out of here and pluck us up at any time. but it's about the whole nation. It's about our people that walk around in darkness day by day, and not all of them want to be in darkness. They just don't see no light. So the Most High uses a man to say something and may speak into their heart and move, just like all of us were moved at some point in our life by a word, by something that was spoken, something that we saw. So I pray to the Most High that this presentation is a barakah or a blessing to you all. I'm going to be doing an actual recording of this, and on a page, I'll probably create a YouTube page. I'm going to do a recording of it so you can share with others if you want. Also, I'll have the PowerPoint will be available to individuals that just want the PowerPoint. So you can do it to your family. My family came down Thanksgiving week, right? We had Shabbat. And on Shabbat, I did this presentation for them because they were asking me questions about Kanye and stuff because they knew that I claimed to be Hebrew and why. And I told I was able to do this for them. And they were all very receptive to the PowerPoint and had a good understanding. So I'm going to do this PowerPoint. If it's above, if it's below your spectrum, I'm sorry. But it's very basic and it's for beginners, but I feel like it helps all of us to keep that fire going. So without further ado, if Moreh Samak, if you could just tell me if you could see it well, let me know.
Okay, I can see it on.
Okay, do I need to put it on the actual PowerPoint presentation screen to make it a little larger, or is this good?
Make it a little, if you want to make it a little larger, but all your I can see everything like your slides on the side as well. So if you want to,
let me do a slideshow.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's told right there. That's it. Perfect.
Okay, all right, Kang. So, like I said, if anybody got any questions or something comes up, raise your hand, or if not, just speak out, like I said, because I can't really see exactly who has a hand up, so Moreh will be letting me know, or Sar. All right, so what does Yisr'ael look like? This is not about who isn't Yisr'ael. I just want to say that first and foremost. This ain't about the white man. It's not about the Jew. It's not about any of that of who isn't. This is strictly about what does Yisr'ael look like from a historical, scriptural, and archaeological perspective, right? By myself, I'll call myself your neighborhood Moreh. I'm just your brother, right? So let's go here. Which is which? All right, you see the picture. Which is which? Who is who? Who's not? Right? Not going to focus on who is not. I'm just going to deal with this from a historical, scriptural basis of what do we see when we look at the scriptures, okay? The truth stands all by itself. It doesn't need affirmation from any outsiders. It will stand above all things, okay? So we're going to deal with this on the scriptures. First, I want to deal with words, okay? These are words for black in the Tanakh, right? You will see them translated in the English, usually King James or something of that nature, as black. The first word I'm going to deal with is the word kamar, right? Kamar. Kamar means to grow warm and tender, to be or grow hot, become as hot, deeply kindled, stirred, shriveled, darkened, burning, or blackened, to be burned. Also, I want y'all to take this as a note. The idolatrous priests were called kumarim in Hebrew, and they were known for wearing black robes. Now I know y'all seen shows and stuff where you see these priests up here, right? And these priests got these all black robes on. They were, even in the times of our ancestors, they were there. Okay, so this is not like figment, it's not fiction. This is real. All right. Lamentations, the book of Ekah, Lamentations chapter 5, verse 10. It says, our skin is black like an oven, right? Or in some texts it says hot like an oven because of the burning heat of famine. Okay. So first I want y'all to look at this, right? Orinu, right? Katanor, right? Nekumaru, Nikmaru, slika, nikmaru. The root is right here. Y'all see that root? You see that kamar, right? The root of that is kamar. Kimar right there, but the root is kamar. So he says our skin, right, has become kumaru, darkened like an oven, right? It says because of a burning famine, re'ab, right? Okay. Let's go to the next slide. Black like, they say hot like, so they don't say, so it doesn't say black like an oven. Now, whose skin becomes black like an oven because of famine? Why would your skin become hot like an oven because of the famine? Let's deal in the context. Whose skin gets darker when they have been starving or even famished of nutrients and stuff like that? Maisha's Abba had an issue with his lung, oxygen, right? What did he have?
He had sarcoidosis, which caused hypertension with his lungs, and it caused breathing issues. So he had issues with breathing. He had to have a lung transplant. But due to the loss of oxygen, his skin began to turn dark.
So like when you look at his legs and stuff, they were super dark. And he's not a dark man, but his legs were super dark because it was lacking oxygen. All right. So let me go to the next slide. Look at the picture here. Both pictures are pictures of people who have been famished, right? Who have been starved. Which one looks more like Lamentations 5:10? You see it at your own eyes. Dark, right? Like an oven because of famine. All right, malnutrition. All right, let's go to another one. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 4. And I will stretch out my hand upon Judah and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the name of the idolatrous priest with the priest. Notice, what does it say about the idolatrous priest, right? This is the word that's used for idolatrous priest. I'm circling it. Hikmarim, right? Hakmarim, right? From the root, kamar. Y'all see the three letters, kaf, mem, and resh, right? This is what he called the idolatrous priest. Hakmarim, right? The kumarim. With the kohanim. Kohanim, the priest. So he said, I'm going to cut off those guys with kohanim. So let's take a look at this. Y'all see, that look familiar? These black robe priests. One reason why these priests wore these black robes is because they would be slaughtering human beings, children, humans, right? A lot of ash and stuff. So they wore these black robes. Our priests slaughtered, right? But what did they wear? So we're giving, I'm putting emphasis on the word for dark or black, right? So you'll see it because it says our skin has become like that, right? But also what other nations are doing or have been doing, right? Let's do it. What did the Most High tell the priests to wear? Let's look at this. And these are the garments which they make. And I can't, if I'm skipping a word, I'm sorry. I got this thing on one side of my, okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. They shall make a breastplate and an ephod and a robe and a tunic and a chiquer work, right? A mitre, or people say mitri, but mitre, and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aharon thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. And they shall make the gold colors, right? And the blue, and the purple, and the scarlet, and the fine linen. And thou shalt weave the tunic in a chiquer work of fine linen, and thou shalt make a mitre of fine linen, and thou shalt make a girdle, the work of the weaver in colors. And for Aharon's sons, right, thou shalt make tunics, and thou shalt make for them girdles and head tires, shalt thou make for them for splendor and for beauty. Never do we read anything about a black robe. You see what I'm saying? Anything like that. That's what we wore. We wore tunics, linen tunics. Next word, shaquar, right? Or shakar, right? Shakar. It means to be black, turns black, dawn or daybreak. Turn black, dawn or daybreak. All right. Two scriptures, Job 30:30. My skin is black and my bones are burned with heat. Job was not an Israelite. Job was not an Israelite. He says, Ori, Shakar, Mi'ali, right? Upon me. He says, my skin, Ori, right? Shakar, my skin is black. And my bones are burned with heat. So when we deal with skin, we deal with a color, right? When we deal with bones, you can say bones are burned with heat. But you wouldn't say the skin, right? Like they try to make out in Lamentations. That's what he said. And my bones are burned with heat. Yeshayah, Isaiah chapter 8, verse 20. For instruction and for testimony, if they do not speak of this, it is because they have no light. Right? Lo, right? Ain, there is not lu unto them. Shakar, there's no dawn, there's no daybreak. He says, for the instruction and the testimony, if they not speak of this, it's because they don't have no light, no dawn, right? That's what dawn looks like. It's dark, okay? It's pretty dark here. That's what it looks like. So the scriptures is giving us little hints that we can, I call it morsels, that we can trace our way back to who we are. Let me tell you something. Hanukkah is not just so you can see the light. It wasn't just for you. It's for everybody. For everybody. We all will be stumbling around, hitting our toes. You're supposed to be a light. You're supposed to be a light for just you. It says you don't take a light and put it under a basket, but you put it on a prop so that what? The whole house can see. Most High left us little morsels that if we choose, if we desire, he'll take us back to the origin. We got to deal with the roots of these things, not the branches. The branches may look, some of the branches may look like that. But when we get back to the root, let's look at the root. Next word number 3, koshek. Koshek, right? Koshek means darkness, obscurity. Right? Obscurity is what? What is that? Like, kind of like unknown in a sense. Like, darkness, to be dim, gloom, terror, ignorance, and hide. Koshek. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. Now the earth was unformed and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the spirit of Elohim hovered over the face of the waters. Guess what that word says? And darkness was upon. Oops, look at darkness. It says, Koshek, darkness, and darkness, Koshek, right? Psalms, Tehillim, 139, 11 and 12. And if I say, surely the darkness shall envelop me, and the light about me shall be night. What does it say about the darkness? It says Koshek, right? That's what it says for darkness. Let's go down a little bit. He says, even the darkness is not too dark. Gam, also, Koshek, what? Lo, Yakishek, right? So he's saying, even the darkness is low, is not too dark. Mimeka, from thee. See what it's saying? Dark. These are words that's used to describe this color, dark, right? Next word, Quadar. Quadar, right? You may also hear pronounced differently with vowel points, Kedar, right? Quadar. It means to become dark, to dark, darken, grow dark, mourn, mourning, sit turbid, right? Quadar. These are some scriptures. Shir HaSharim, Songs of Solomon, 1 verse 2. This is one you all know. I am black, but calmly, O daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. As the what? The tents of Kedar, Quadar. As the curtains of Shalomo. Right? What does it say? Shekura. Right? That's what it says. Shikar. So it loses, it's interesting because remember, we use black, shikar, right? Shakura, the root of it is shikar. He says, I am black. Shakura ani, I am. I am black, I am, right? And then for the tents of Kedar, it says like that, right? It says, Ke ahali, Ke ahali from the word ahal, meaning tent, like Ke ahali, like the tents, Kedar, of Kedar. So he says, I'm black like that. As the curtains of Shalomo, right? Verse 6, look upon me that I am swarty. Now, key word, swarty. People use this term. It's like a code word, but if you never heard of it, you don't know what they're saying. It says, I am swarty, that the sun hath turned me. My mother's sons incensed against me, right? They made me the keeper of vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept, right? But I'm going to focus on swarty, right? Shikari karet, right? That's kind of hard for me to pronounce, right? Shikari karet, swarty, root word, shikar. Shikar, right? Let's go down a little bit further. Verse 9. This is chapter 5, verse 9 through 10. So this is still Songs of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 9 through 10. Now listen to this, what this says. What is thy beloved more than any another beloved? O thou fairest amongst women, what is thy beloved more than another beloved, that thou dost so adore us, right? My beloved is white and ruddy, preeminent above 10,000. Now notice it says white and ruddy. That's right there, Baruch. They're white. My beloved is white. All right. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks are curled and black as a raven. I'm going to deal with black as a raven first. It says that his locks are curled and black as a raven. Now you see people trying to do curls. Let me say that as locks, right? We'll deal with black as a raven first. What does it say? Shikarot. Shikar, root word, black. Now let's go back to this white and ruddy, preeminent above 10,000. So it says, sak. Sak is the word they use for white. Now we're going to talk about that. We adum. So it says, sak we adum. White and ruddy. Adum is the word they're using for ruddy. We're about to get into adum, coming from the root adam, for ruddy. So it says, I'm white and ruddy. That doesn't make sense, does it? It's saying I'm white and ruddy. So ruddy is like a color, right? Ruddy, right? My Isha is ruddy, right? I'm white and ruddy. Okay, all right. So let's go a little further. Let's dig into this. First, let's talk about, he said, first, like the tents of Kedar. Does anybody know what the tents of Kedar look like? Now, I was in Yisr'ael, and I know what it looks like. They call them the Bedouins, right? The Bedouins live on the mountain hills. This is what their tents look like to this day. I know because when I was there in 2016, that's what it looked like. On the mountainsides, even on the sides of the roads on hills, they had these tents. And these tents are covered with brown and black coverings, just like these pictures. So he said, like the tents of Kedar. Let me go back. O daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Shalomo. Boom, boom. Tents of Kedar, right there. That's what he's telling us. Like, that's the skin. I like putting my skin up against it. Just, yeah, right? That's the skin. Let's take a deeper look. Let's take this word sock. This is the word they use, I'm white and ruddy, right? Of all the words, that word sock or tesak, some people might say, it's from 6705. This is Strong's if you want to look these things up. It means dazzling, glowing, clear. Look at that. Look at that. Sock, tesak. Look at that skin, right? Glowing, clear, dazzling, scorching. You can look at Isaiah chapter 18:4 and the book of Eka or Lamentations chapter 4, verse 7 to look up where these words are actually used in Hebrew, in English, and they used a different word than white. They didn't use white there. It's like dazzling, bright, right? The word for white in Hebrew is Laban, right? Our uncle Laban, right? Yaakov's uncle means white, right? And so we're going to look into that in just a second. Laban. Let's look at Laban. Genesis 30 and 35. And he removed that day the he-goats that were streaked and spotted, and all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and everyone that had white in it. Look at that. Asher Laban, which had white. Call Asher Laban bow in it, right? All that had white in it. Laban. Now we know what white is right there, right? And all the dark ones, right, among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons, right? All right, let's look at this. Genesis 49:12. His eye, this is about the blessings, and he deals with, he's dealing with Judah. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Guess what? Laban, same thing. His teeth will be white with milk. So we know what white is in the scriptures. Let's go a little bit further just in case. Shemot, Exodus chapter 16, verse 31. And the house of Yisr'ael called the name thereof manna, and it was like coriander seed. Look at that. Look at that, guys. That's coriander seed. White. Look at this. God, Laban, white. Coriander, right? White. And taste and white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. Kezarah, and the seed, like the seed, God, coriander, Laban. So it's saying like the seed, coriander, white. And even that's not like some shades of white, but that's, it's white, right? Okay. Next word, the final word we're using for black, describe black or dark or this color, right? It says from the name of a condiment, from the 119, same as the name of a condiment, means to be red, ruddy, made red, or dyed. Man, ground, dirt, reddish brown, mahogany. Edom, right? Edom, Edom. It's the same word, right? Let's take a little deeper look at this. Mahogany. I love mahogany. These are all shades of mahogany, everyone.
Yeah.
Put your hand up to the screen, see which color that you fit in, right? This is Adam, Edom, Adam, our forefather. They even got a color called Jacobian. I think I'm Jacobian. Jacobian, right? Right? Which shade do you fit? These are shades of mahogany. But you're not taught this when you read Adam or Edom. They say, oh, that's just red. That's just red. Oh, it's different shades. Different shades. So we know we all came from Adam, which came from the ground. And we got down south, you from the south, we talk about that red clay, right? That red dirt, right? I even got it at my house, not so far south, but I got it at my house. Let's look at that. Look at this. Look at this young woman who's Edom. Edom. When people start talking about Edom being white, Edom means red. He had red hair, okay? But look at this sister. Look at this. And look at her. Even her eyes kind of look fiery red. Beautiful. These are descriptions that we see in the scriptures. Let's go to the next one. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 12. Look at the description of one of our most righteous, greatest ancestors, David. And he sent and brought him in, right? Now he was ruddy and with all of beautiful eyes and goodly to look upon. Take that all in, sisters, right? He was ruddy and with all of beautiful eyes and goodly to look. Now, we just talked about ruddy, right? Look at them shades, right? Now, look at this. Look at the word for ruddy. Y'all see something familiar? Name three. You see them three letters in the beginning? Adomoni, actually. Adimony, they say Adimony, but it's Adomoni, right? Adomoni is what they said, ruddy. Edom, that's what he looked like. I don't know where we got the other stuff from, but it says that's what he looked like. It doesn't mean that you're pale white and somebody hits you and you get a red mark on your face because it's showing blood, like I've heard somebody say. No, it's saying that his skin was Edomi, withal, right? Yafeh, Anayim, Slika, Inayim, which means of beautiful eyes. Weitob, Ro'i, and good to look at. And so it say, yeah, beautiful eyes. He was ruddy, and he was good to look at. All right, don't eat too much. Oh my gosh, just fine. But that's what it said that the brother looked like, right? Genesis. I want to bring it out. Scriptures identifying Hebrews with Egyptians. Now, this is important. And Joseph went up. This is from Genesis or Bereshit, chapter 50, verse 11 to 13. And Joseph went up to bury his father. And with him went up all the servants of Pharaoh, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house, only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with them both chariots and horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan. And there they wailed with a very great wail and sore wailing. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And now, it wasn't just the 12 sons, it was also the older ones, right? They left the little ones, but they still had more family here because Yaakov lived a certain amount of years that he was already living in Egypt before he died, right? And when the inhabitants of the land the Canaanites saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, this is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians. Wherefore, the name of it was called Abel Mitzrayim, right? Which is beyond, which is beyond the Jordan. Okay, so when they saw this, they said, this is all the Egyptians. Now you might be saying, well, it's people that was dressed like Egyptians, so that's okay. Well, we'll get a little bit into that too. Continuation. Do you want to read? You want to read for me? Thank you.
All right. Now the priest
Tell
of
'em where you at.
Shemot, Exodus 2, verse 16 through 18. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the trough to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moshe stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Yisr'ael, their father, he said, how is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and moreover, he drew water for us and watered the flock.
Now, if this was a situation where he was just dressed like an Egyptian, but he was a totally different color, then it would be very easy to go, well, I don't know what he was. He was dressed like an Egyptian, but I don't know what the man was. But because he had the appearance of an Egyptian also, so it had to have been a collaboration of different things that added up. No different if I came and I was dressed like an Italian, whatever that would mean. Let me just say I had on one of the what's the Scottish, the skirts, what's it called? The kilts or something like that. And I had that on, but I look like me. Somebody's gonna go, well, he was dressed like somebody from Ireland or something, right? But he was a brother. In the same way, but they looked at him and all the things added up. So it wasn't just his dress, it was his appearance in general that made them think that it was an Egyptian that rescued us. All right, let's look at it. Yeah.
Jeremiah 26, verse 20 through 23. And there was also a man that prophesied in the name of Uriah, the son of Shemaiah, of Kirihath, Jeram, and he prophesied against this city and against this land, according to all the words of Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. And when Jehoiakim, the king, with all the mighty men and all the princes, heard his word, the king sought to put him to death. But when Uriah heard it, he was afraid and fled and went into Egypt.
Why? I wouldn't go to the country club if I was going to hide from the police. I wouldn't. This is not somewhere I would go. Where would you go? Everybody on this line, where would you go? Think about it. If you were trying to hide from the police or somebody trying to kill you, okay? Or let me tell you this. Let's answer this. Where wouldn't you go if you was trying to hide, right? If you were trying to fit in.
Verse 22. And Jehoiakim the king sent men into Egypt. Nathan, the son of Akbar, mm-hmm. and certain men with him into Egypt. Mm-hmm. And they fetched forth Uriah out of Egypt and brought him unto Jehoiakim the king, who slew him with the sword and cast his dead body into the graves of the children of the people.
All right. So he went down to Egypt and hid. That's familiar. You'll start to see that that's a pattern of our people to run down to Egypt to hide, right? That's a pattern. All right, let's go to Acts. Let's check out Acts, right? We got to go there for a minute. Acts chapter 21, 37 through 40.
And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who said, canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days made an uproar and leadest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul said, I am a man which am a Yehudi from Tarsus.
That sounds familiar. We do that today, right? When you have people say, are you a Muslim? You say, no, I'm an Israelite, right? something familiar, like it's familiar. They're like, oh, you look like you could be Muslim. We're not sure. So he said, oh, no, art thou not that Egyptian? Similar. All right, keep on.
A city in Shalisha, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spoke unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying,
right, lit a candle. All right. So the next question that we're going to have to ask is that this issue keeps coming up about Egyptians. So we have to ask ourselves, what do the Egyptians look like? What did the Egyptians look like? Let me say that. Look at there. That look like somebody's aunt on this line. I'm gonna tell you right now. Got an attitude and everything, right? Brother and sister, servant, whatever you want to say. Look at that. Look at there. This is from the 23rd dynasty. Look at this. Look at it. And you look at the time frame of these dynasties. These are all time frames that our people, of our forefathers, that they were on the earth, upon the earth, probably knew some of these men and women, right? Seti, father of Ramses the First, right? 1314 BC to 1304, around the time of Moshe, right? All in that time frame. 18th dynasty. Look at her. Nose, look at it. Lip. I know that's a thing, but a lot of times they had braids. You see what I'm saying? Look at these sisters. I grew up with them. twins up the street, right? Look at them. 18th dynasty. Look at this brother, strong brother. Starting to get the drift. This is who they were mistaking us for, right? 18th dynasty, Amenhotep, right? Some people saying that's Joseph or Akhenaten, Slikai. Daughter of Akhenaten, look at her. Some of our little sisters, some of y'all on this line look like her. This is who they thought we looked like. Akhenaten, some people say that's Joseph, okay? 18th dynasty, look at him. Look at him. Lips, ears, whole 9 yards. Hair. This is their picture. This is what they drew that their people look like. I see some of y'all brothers got that little goatee right now. You know you're supposed to be growing your beard, but you got the little goatee. I'm just messing with y'all. Look, that's us. That's what we look like. We look like that. They look like us. Let's go to Revelations. What about the Mashiach? What about Messiah, right? Right? What about that? Let's look at it. Revelations 1:12 through 15. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks, right? And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, Ben Adam, right? Clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace, and his voice as the sound of many waters. Now, this is consistent throughout the scriptures. Unto fine brass, not just fine brass, but as burned in the furnace, as if they were burned in the furnace. So I can see something has happened here. If that's what they're saying, John, in a vision of the future, okay, right? In a vision of the future, he saw who talked to him, and he said, that's who it looked like. That's what he looked like. Now let's go a little further. Hair white like wool, right? White like wool. Okay. What else? Feet, what? feet like brass, burned in the fire. This is burnished bronze right here. That's what his feet were. He probably would have said something else, but this garment went down to his feet. Burnished brass. Look at it. And burnished brass can go all the way dark, and it can go light, but when the light hit it, it's like a glow. Sometimes they would use it as a mirror. Is this the heavenly look? Let's go, let's investigate a little bit.
All right. Daniel chapter 10, verse 6. His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as torches of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to burnished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude.
Ooh, it says feet was like what? The color of burnished brass, right? Kain, right? Nakashet. Nekoshet, Slika. Nekoshet from the root word Nekash. We're going to get in that in just a second. But it says Kain, Nekoshet, right? Let's go a little further.
Bamidbar, also known as Numbers chapter 25, verse 10 and 11. And Yahweh spoke unto Moshe, saying, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aharon, the priest, have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, in that he was very jealous for my sake among them, so that I consume not the children of Israel in my jealousy.
Okay, now I say, what are you talking about? What's in that, Baruch? Pinchas or Phinehas, as they say. Pinchas, right? Pinchas or Pentecost, right? Pinchas is a very interesting name. I'm going to show you why. It's two words, comes from two words, Pe and Nekash, right? I'm going to read you this. The Oxford Guide to the Bible and Brown Driver Briggs Hebrew and English Lexicon identify Pinchas or Phinehas as a variant of the Egyptian name Nahasi. According to the former, the Bible also uses Egyptian and Nubian names for the land and its people. For the Egyptians used to these color variations, the term for their southern neighbors was Nahesi, southerner. I'm a southerner, guys, right? Which eventually also came to mean the black or Nubian, Nehesi, right? The Egyptian root, Nehesi, with the performative P as a definitive article, right, appears in Exodus 6:25 as the personal name of Aharon's grandson, Pinhas or Penahas or Panahas. The theological word book of the Old Testament interprets the name to mean the bronze-colored one. Phinehas, like Moshe and Nun, he lived in Egypt and their names were shared by the dominant culture there. So his face, the bronze-colored one, and I've even seen in certain translations, they say burnt face. That's what it means, burnt face. Interesting, right? Other scriptures, go ahead.
Why you cry, Leviticus chapter 13, verse 4. And if the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and the appearance thereof be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague 7 days.
Okay, so it says if the spot, this is dealing with leprosy. The laws dealing with Mitzorah and Tazariah, right? Leprosy. And if the spot be white in the skin of his flesh. Well, if he's white, how do you know it's white? It must be white.
Right.
Off-white? Most High just did it because it was easy. He said, if it be white. Okay? So, Wayikra chapter 13.
Verse 30 and 31. Then the priest shall look on the plague, and behold, if the appearance thereof be deeper than the skin, and there be in it yellow, thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is an eruption. It is leprosy of the head or of the beard.
If it's what? What color hair?
Yeah.
Yellow thin hair. She'ar zehab, right? Yellow thin hair. So it says that if it's yellow thin hair, what do we call yellow hair today? Go ahead. You say it. Y'all can say it too. Y'all know what we call yellow hair today.
Blonde.
So, right. Thank you. Thank you. Le'aka. Blonde. It says, if the hair be yellow thin hair. Well, if I'm already blonde, let's see what else.
Verse 31. And if the priest look on the plague of the eruption, and behold, the appearance thereof be not deeper than the skin, and there be no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague of the skull 7 days.
Now, this is the key kicker right here. He says that if there be no black hair, what's wrong? We need black hair. And notice, look at what it says for black hair. I got it highlighted right here, right? Where she are, right? Shakar or Shakor, right? Shakor, we remember that as a word, right? Shakar, right? For dark. So if the hair is not dark, so this is like, somebody might say it's an assumption, but you would say that dark hair is a criteria for it not to be leprosy, right? So we're dealing with dark hair, which means that most of us must have had dark hair. What's the primary color of Israelites in America? Primary color. Black. Black hair. Yeah, some of us got light to sandy brown, we get it. But primary color for us is black hair. So you notice that most of the laws are made concerning the primary colors of things. Primary. Of course, there are always exceptions. But the primary colors is what the laws are. Primary things are usually what the laws are said. And then in the rare occasions, we deal with the abnormality or something that's not usual or something of that nature. All right. Now look at this. This is to prove it even more.
Wayikra chapter Leviticus chapter 13, verse 37. But if the skull stay in its appearance and black hair be grown up therein, the skull is healed. He is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. So we're scared of yellow hair, but black hair, we're okay. All right? That's what it says. And the skull is healed. He's clear. If he gets his black hair back, think about that. If he gets his black hair back and the skull is healed, he's clean. All right? That's why Edom is so important, because it said Edom because he had red hair all over. That's why he stood out, because he had red hair all over. Yaakov was regular. Edom says that hair, he's red all over like a hairy garment. He had red hair. Not that his skin was white. The man had red hair all over. Because if his skin was Edom, he would look like us. He was special because he had red hair all over. And they didn't even call him Edom. They call him Isu, which means hair. Goat. It's like goat hair. He got Edom because of the red porridge. These are our people that do have blonde hair. They're abnormal to us with that type of skin color. We do have Israelites
that have blonde hair or yellow hair. Or let me not even say Israelites. There are melanated people with yellow hair. So you can't say, well, if it was yellow, they must have been there. No, we have melanated people that do naturally grow yellow hair, blonde hair. All right? Let's keep going a little further with this. And pull these. These are two different girls, right? This is what we would call leprosy. And it's a form of leprosy. That not all leprosy is with swords and scars and breakout. And some leprosy is clean leprosy, but leprosy, the word mitzora, means an eruption. That's what it means. There's some sort of eruption that takes place in your inner body or inner soul that manifests in your flesh. That's why all the tests for leprosy were dealing with your flesh. That's the priest would have to look at your flesh, your hair, and your skin to determine or diagnose what it was, right? So these are examples of these young ladies, these sisters, that was the original skin. And this was later on in life. The original, later on. We would say that's mitzora. She had it was clean mitzora. She wasn't unclean. It's just an eruption that happened in her skin. And you can even see, they call it vitiligo. And it's an eruption in the skin. That's literally what it is. It burst out. So if this happened earlier in our times, we would have to bring her in and look at her and say, well, it doesn't look like it's, you know what I'm saying? And separate her or quarantine her. That's scriptural, isolate her, and then check it later on, right? But that's a form of what they call clean leprosy. So let me say this. Nobody feel bad if you got spots or blotches on your skin and stuff like that. We all have imperfections and things that happen to our skin, whether it be autoimmune diseases. What's the other stuff that breaks out? I can't think of the name right now for some reason, but when you scratch
eczema.
Thank you. Is okay. Thank you. Eczema. People get eczema. I mean, we have things happen that we have to figure out where is it coming from, so this is not calling you nothing or putting you in a box. This is just educational, so you'll know how things were looked at in the time of our ancestors, okay? And these things were happening even then. They were happening, okay? This is not new. Further evidence of the scriptures.
Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 28, verse 21 through 29. For Yahweh will rise up as in Mount Perazim. He will be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon. That he may do his work, strange is his work, and bring to his act, strange is his act. Now therefore be ye not scoffers, lest your bands be made strong. For an extermination wholly determined have I heard from Yahweh, Allah of hosts, upon the whole land. Give ye ear and hear my voice, attend and hear my speech. Is the plowman never done with plowing to sow, with the opening and harrowing of his ground?
All right, let's keep going. Y'all gonna see why I go here in just a second. This is from Isaiah 28.
Verse 25. When he hath made plain the face thereof, doth he not cast abroad the black cumin, and scatter the cumin, and put in the wheat in rows, and the barley in the appointed place, and the spelt in the border thereof? For he doth instruct him aright, his el doth teach him. For the black cumin is not threshed with the threshing sledge, neither is a cartwheel turned about upon the cumin. But the black cumin is beaten out with the staff, and the cumin with the rod. Is bread corn crushed? Nay, he will not ever be threshing it. And though the roller of his wagon and its sharp edges move noisily, he doth not crush it. This also cometh forth from Yahweh of hosts. Wonderful is his counsel and great his wisdom.
Man, y'all like, what do you do that for, Baruch? What does that have to do with what we're talking about? For the black cumin is not threshed. Listen to this. With a threshing sledge. It's not destroyed, right? Neither is the cartwheel turned about upon the cumin. But the black cumin is beaten out with the staff and the cumin with the rod. So he says it's not destroyed, but it's beaten. Think about it. It's not destroyed, but it's beaten. So then you need to ask yourself, right? What is this cumin that it's talking about? What is it talking about, right? Let's look at it. Anybody know what cumin look like? I'm sure you do. Look at that. He's using that to describe us. You got to read all of 28 to get the whole, but he's using these things to describe us. This is cumin. Tasty. We all eat it, probably have it in our stuff, you know, in our food as a spice. It's delicious, right? Gives good spice, good fragrance also. It has a nice fragrance to it. But this is cumin. And he's using that to describe us. Black cumin. Look at this. You. What do the historians and scholars say? All right, what do they say? Let's take a look. Zondervan Bible Dictionary. The Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. This is what it says. Ham, when you look up ham, right? Or Ham, but it says ham in English, right? The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and the Canaanites or Canaanites. But notice it said not the Negroes. So who is the father of the Negroes? He said he's the progenitor, meaning he's where all of them come from, which that's a lie too. But he said of the dark races. Now this is not, Israelites didn't make the Zondervan Compact Dictionary. We didn't make this. We didn't have no dealings in the Zondervan dictionaries, right? It's a well-known name, but they clearly say, and I got the book, not the Negroes. So that means the Negroes would have either came from Shem or Japhet. And I know we didn't come from Japhet. Any scholar would tell you that we don't come from Japhet, right? Let's keep going. J.C. Pritchard, 1845. 1845, right? Few years before the Emancipation Proclamation, right? The Natural History of Man, page 145. It says, especially dark were the Jews of Spain and Portugal. The Portugal Jews were very dark, says Pritchard. Look at it. This is a historian. Look at this, the Jews of Spain. Come on, guys. They didn't tell us this. Let's relight the candle. It's Hanukkah. Let's relight the candle. They didn't tell me that. I ain't see that picture growing up in church. Right? Let's keep going. Continuation. Marcel Auguste de Elafoy, archaeologist of Susa or Iran, right? Says the Elamites, which are descendants of Shem, that once dominated the region were Negroes. That's what he said. The Elamites that once dominated the region were Negroes. Now, y'all seen the Elamites. They were dark-skinned men. They had pictures of them, and a lot of them had actually blue eyes. These are Shemites. So I want to show you that there were Shemitic people that were, there were a lot of Shemites that were of brown, melanated skin, dark all the way to the light brown. Titus or Tacitus, Tacitus, 90 AD. This was a historian, Greek historian, actually, right? He said that many assert that Jews are an Ethiopian race. This is what he said. Be mindful that some of the Messianic writings were being written in this time period. So in 90 AD, you still had books of the New Testament being written in 90 AD. So he says that the Jews were an Ethiopian race. Many assert that they're an Ethiopian race. So in order to assert that they're an Ethiopian race, he must have known that the Jews look like Ethiopians. That's why I put pictures there. Time Life magazine, the Nazis, World War II, 1980, right? I got this book, right? Look at the pictures. Now, Hitler, although, he had a lot of evil about him, he was definitely a historian. He was definitely into history and into religious relics and artifacts. Let me say that. So he wasn't like he was an uneducated man, right? So this is what they produced to say that this is where these people, the Jews, came from, right? The caption on page 132 states that the genetic heritage of the Jew is purportedly traced to the Oriental Negro, this shouldn't be a comma, Oriental Negro, Near Asian, and Hamitic peoples, which would be biblical. Because didn't we intermarry with Hamites? Right? Tamar, wasn't she a Hamite? A Canaanite is a Hamite, right? Didn't we have? Wasn't Yehuda, Dawid, right? Shlomo married Pharaoh's daughter. Pharaoh, that's a Hamite, right? So if you're, Moreh said this to me a few weeks ago, which was very deep. If you are a Jew, right, from the line of David, especially, how could you be a Yehuda from the tribe of Yehuda or Judah and have no Hamitic blood in you, no African blood in you? It would be impossible. They were married to Hamitic people. They had Hamitic wives. How could you not have African blood in you if you're Israelite or from the tribe of Judah, the house of Judah? It would be impossible. Tamar was definitely from Ham. Definitely. Right? So, the obelisk of Salmanassar III. This has to do with when the northern tribe was being marched out the land to go to Assyria, right? King Hoshea, right? These are kind of hard to see, but these are pictures of King Hoshea bowing down, right? To Salmanassar, right? These are Jews, the Yehudim are Jews of Lachish. Why are they putting little circles and little beads in their hair? Why would they be doing that? Those are so far from the locks that I see people have today to claim locks. That's so far from, look at their hair. Notice that they were well-groomed. They were well-groomed. It wasn't like their beards were down to their chest, like them, right? Like the Assyrians, but their beards were short beards. Look like braids in their hair, cornrows kind of, doesn't it? Hebrews in captivity. This is history. This ain't Baruch's tale. This is history. More pictures. These brothers definitely got cornrows a lot down. You know what I'm saying? See brothers like that nowadays. Notice they got bandanas on their head. Right? Not necessarily complete turbans. They got bandanas on their head. Look at the garments. Right? They had noses like mine. I got picked on for this. But I tell you, look at them. Look at that. They us. Right? In conclusion, Yisr'ael is a melanated nation of many shades of brown. There's a world of information that proves this, but not all melanated people are descendants of this great nation. We are growing closer to the mass reset that is spoken of in Isaiah chapter 13. The best thing we can do is love Yah with all our heart, soul, and with all our might, and love our neighbor as ourselves. So I'm gonna stop the share now. But, I hope everybody got something from this because, it's important that we get refreshers of this and we get reminded of this and we get our power from this. We regenerate because sometimes we forget or we don't think about this stuff because we know. So it's like, well, I know I'm Israel, but sometimes you need a little bit more reassurance, because living the day, every day when you go on your jobs with people of the world, sometimes you just get engulfed into what it is going on around you. And they're not acknowledging you as Israel. They're not like, yeah, Baruch's an Israelite, man. He's from the people of the Bible. They're not recognizing that. So they treat you like a slave that was brought to America and now has his freedom. That's how they treat you. But sometimes we need a little bit of a reminder, a little bit of just a little bit more juice to say, man, right, reassurance, right. Don't ever grow so old. I say, don't ever get so far ahead you can't look back. And you don't remember, you don't look and go, right, that's why. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? When brothers and sisters speak truth about it, whether it be on mass media, don't get so caught up into how they live their lives. The Most High uses the mouth of an animal to speak. That's what my brother Moreh can use. He used the mouth of a donkey to speak to a man that was beating him with a stick. You don't think he'll use somebody's on the cerebral scene to speak to our people and say, y'all are Israelites, wake up? Because guess what? The reality is that not everybody is going to acknowledge anyway. Not every Black person in America is going to acknowledge themselves as Israel. It's not going to walk in that. They don't want it. Not everybody wants this. So he who has ears, let him hear what the Spirit says into the congregations. That's what I say. Like I said, even the rock will cry out. He'll use the rocks to cry out. So why are you upset that celebrity who don't necessarily live according to this, like, oh, wasn't? I'm happy. Let's bring this revolution, because the reality is it says that all nations are going to come against Yisr'ael. We read about Armageddon, Harmageddon, and things of that nature, where all the nations are going to come against Yah's chosen people. It has to happen. What better way than we all wake up and realize who we are and start living according to the covenant, start walking in the light, relight the menorah, start walking in that light. That's going to upset the world, not just America. That's going to upset the world. Can you see them now saying, who them niggas think they are? Who them niggas think they are? What you think? That's what they're going to be saying. Who they think they really are. They got some nerves. Let's show them who we are. And it says, pride come before the fall, haughty heart before destruction. They're going to puff themselves up in pride, march themselves on down against us. And that's when we will know that Elohim fights for us. So this is important, that I no longer, I got quiet for a while talking about this, but it's back lit in me, because I'm not hiding this. You cannot take a light and put a basket under it. We are who we are. And they know it. That's why they took it away from us. That's why they're trying to hide it. And that's they're making every effort by using words like anti-Semitism to try to bring you down, to keep you under their control. But like Lauryn Hill says, "O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness, for thou may be saved." You see what I'm saying? "O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness." Let's relight the light. You know what I'm saying? Let's relight the menorah, and the Most High gonna keep it burning. You don't got to worry about that. You just gotta light it. He gonna keep it burning. That's his plan. You have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to say that years ago, I was working at this law firm, and this girl that was one of the sisters that worked there, she wasn't a sister, she was a white woman, and she came up to me one day, and it was super random. She was like, "Did you know there were Black Jews?" And at the time I was young, so I couldn't care less. And I was like, "Really?" And she, "Yeah, there are Black Jews." And I said, "Really? I never knew that." And I didn't even know the significance of that information. But the next day, one of the lawyers that worked there, he printed out a pamphlet. The pamphlet was like this thick, and he handed it to me. And he said, these are the Black Jews. And he, on the front, they had the black top, the black hats, and they had the black suits on. And he said, these are the Black Jews, not you. These are the Black Jews. And that was the first time that he ever expressed any sort of interest, any type of consideration, care for what my thought process was about who I. And that scenario did not resonate with me until recently, when I said, you know, the Most High was exposing information to me at that time through that sister. And just as much as she was planting a seed for me through the Most High's inspiration, I believe, he was very, very animate about snatching it out.
Yep.
And casting doubt. And had I took that information and went with it, where would that have taken me way before, you know, now? And so I say that to say that one of the reasons why I felt like it was time for our children to be exposed to the information in this format was because this information is for us. It's not for us to take and argue with them. It's not for us to take and put on mass production and show people and say, look, see, we the Jews or we the Hebrews. No, this is for us. And knowing that all of this information solidifies who we are, what we look like, and it only takes a couple of these scriptures to give to your children and say, baby, you in the book, and this is what you look like. Okay. And we take that for ourselves and hold it near and dear to our heart, because every chance they get, they're going to try to snatch it from us. They're going to try to take it and cast doubt. They try to demonize the thought process. And so you walk confidently with the Creator, knowing that we belong to him. And so that's all I wanted to say about it.
Okay. Right. You know, there was a parable, and it says, you know, one part of the parable was that it says that when the word goes forth, it says the devil, Shaitan, it says comes immediately and snatches it out of him. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So that's the truth. It says when certain things go forth, the enemy is going to come immediately and try to snatch it up out of people, especially those who, you know, have lack of understanding, things of that nature. So we got to be aware of that. And we got to be on guard. Even when we put the word out there, I look for it to come. So I said, I know the enemy is coming. So as I put out truth, I know the enemy is coming. So I'm on guard for him, because that's just what he does. You know, so without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead. I want to say, first of all, blessed be Yahweh, blessed be the name of Yahweh, and blessed is he who comes in the name of Yahweh. I'm gonna turn it back over to Moreh Samak. If there's anything else.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise, understand me to the Most High. Adon, that was a powerful presentation, full of information, very informative, and you tap many many areas in the scriptures, and you broke it down well, and told on my sister for all the words that you shared too, and especially what you shared about the job also, and when you received it at a young age, like the Most High was trying to plant seeds, and I believe that was him also, and it probably happened to a lot of us that way, but when we was too young to receive it, but later on, once we came to the knowledge of the truth, we can now say, oh, wow, he's been trying to show me these things for a long time. And the scripture that Moreh Baruch quoted was coming from the book of Matthew, when it says the Shaitan would come by and try to take it away from you. And that's a parable that a lot of people miss, but it's more so specifically when you go to the parable about the sower of seeds, and they talk about planting seeds, and they say those that are by the wayside. And most of the time, people think people that's by the wayside is somebody that's standing by the wayside that don't want to hear the truth, or somebody think is somebody that's standing by the wayside, they're paying attention, you know what I'm saying, but they don't feel like they're a part of it, so they don't come gravitate towards it. But when you actually go to that parable, it said the one that are by the wayside are the ones that received it in their heart.
Okay.
They barely received it. But when something that they do not understand comes up, that's when the adversary comes in and swoops it out. So there's some of you that's on here tonight that are new. you were just coming in around the time when the Kyrie Irving and Kanye West thing happened. You were embracing the Torah, you were starting to embrace that you were Israel, and that thing happened, and now there's a big uproar, and now they all coming against them, which made you be like, oh, we might not be the people, because now they're coming against them and they're shutting them down. That's how the adversary comes in and swoops it out. Like, it felt good to you. You was enjoying it. You like, I feel connection to the Most High. And then the adversary calls a misunderstanding of something that you don't comprehend and you don't understand yet come up and will take it out of you. Just like the example that Akoti Azaria just brought up. There was a woman that presented something to her. That man ain't never had no interest in her until he wanted to come back and show her some Jewish pictures. A sister, somebody's trying to share some information with her, like, really, do you know you the people? Like, they look like you? And then he gonna come back the next day with some pictures. No, here are the Jewish black Jews, and you're not one of them. Want to try to take it out of you. That's the reason why when Moreh Baruch was saying he was trying to see how did this fit into Hanukkah, it fits into Hanukkah. Why? Because all of it, to erase the Torah. If you erase the Torah, you erase the name of Yah, and you erase Yah's people. So if you get Yah's people away from Torah, as they did many years ago, then they could fulfill what it says in the book of Tehillim of Psalms 83. That crafty counsel is to mark out the name, blot out the name of Yah and the name of Israel from being in remembrance, to wipe us out from being a nation. And so the church houses today, we just desire to be Gentiles. And newsflash, there's nothing wrong being a Gentile. If you are a Gentile and you embrace the Most High, hallelujah. Isaiah 56 already covers that. If you take hold to the covenant, you take hold of the Shabbat, hallelujah. But it's an issue when it's pushed on our people that we're nothing but simple Gentiles, and then they always want to show us on a media looking crazy and wild and out of control. When you feel you're nothing, you come from nothing, and you always told you're nothing, you're going to act like nothing. When you find out you're royalty and you're the Most High chosen people, and there was a law given, and the reason why we're in these conditions is because we were the ones, our forefathers were the ones who broke that law, dedication starts to seem a whole lot different to you. I don't want to act like how we've been acting. I want to embrace the Most High, because I now found out, wow, I heard a lesson from Moreh Baruch. He presented it. He gave me a PowerPoint. I can study it for myself. I can meditate on it. And I can clearly see that I'm one of the Most High's people. I'm one of the Most High's children. That makes you want to dedicate back to the Most High, or it should. And that's why I felt like it was very important to hear this, because when some people are trying to return to this culture of custom, they have their family, friends, and loved ones coming against them. They have the pastor, whatever church they're a part of, that's going to try to take this thing. Love it when the plan come together. That pastor will work as Shaitan and try to, oh, you don't need to go back over there. But the whole Hanukkah is about doing away with the laws in the Torah, and y'all want to say no Israelite. The Messiah himself says that's an Israelite indeed. Or you shouldn't be calling yourself no Israelite. We're scared to use the term Israelite because of what the world says. We should walk in the boldness of being Israel. And so we were talking about how to be dedicated to the Most High. Stop being scared to be dedicated to the Most High. I'm an Israelite. I'm not a hate-filled, negative, speaking damnation on the rest of the world, as Moreh Baruch started this lesson off. This is not about who's not Israel. This is about who is Israel. You're not going to bash any other nations. We're just speaking to us. And like Isha said, and we're not trying to broadcast. We ain't trying to make no big documentary. We just want our people to be able to embrace their heritage and teach them the truth, so that we can be dedicated back into the Most High. And the thing about it, going back into, and not to take away from the Most High, but this is actually going to be shining light to the Most High. The whole thing with coming against the Nick Cannons, the Kyrie Irvings, the Kanye West, when, as Baruch say, because they're not fully in the walk, they may not know the walk fully, the fact that they receive some information, be like, I'm smart enough to know from what I've studied that these are the people of the book. Why is it that that is the only thing that cannot be said? You can have the little homo rapper with blood in his shoes doing videos pumping Satan.
Come on.
He's bold. He's strong. How's that strong when you were 60? But if you tell someone they're Hebrew, they're the Most High chosen people, and Kyrie didn't even say anything against who is the not. He just said, I know who I am. They're trying to shut him down. He's not strong, so he didn't take the vaccine. They want to alienate him, demonize him. So that's strong that man can lose his career, but I ain't taking that mess. You ain't put it in me. And he refused to play. I know who we are. And he goes on the video saying to the millennials, to the younger generation, we got to do better. We got to start researching things. But they're not telling us. This is what that young man is saying. That is strong. And then you got Hebrews that's knocking the brother, who's putting his family in jeopardy and also his provision for his family on the line. And we want to diss him because he ain't fully in the truth. But a lot of people will hear that word, and then when Moreh Baruch has this teaching on YouTube, they cannot be like, oh, that's what he was talking about. They ain't looking for him to teach him. He just provoked thought.
That's right.
It's our job now to get ourselves together and be dedicated to the Most High. Be righteous. Love the Most High with all our being. Love one another with all our being. Get rid of the foolishness that's amongst us, because we're the representatives of the Most High. That's
dedicated. Dedicated, Moreh. You said it. Dedicated.
Dedicated.
To the Most.
Dedicated to the Most High, because we now know who we are. Therefore, now that we know who we are, we know whose we are and what he requires. And I believe it was Akoti Rose that said last night, we got to do this with no compromise. We want to, what was the term she used? It wasn't compromise. We want to add to it and do it our own way and not the way that it's written. Basically, so I'm going to use compromise.
Non-negotiation.
Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. The Most High Torah is non-negotiable. So once we find out that we're Israel, back to what I'm saying now that I got that statement, non-negotiable. Once we find out who we are, we will now know whose we are, what he requires, and it's non-negotiable. Then we would know how to properly dedicate ourselves to the Most High, because we know it's non-negotiable. If we're his and we want to be a part of his, we have to be fully dedicated, but we have to teach all of the truth. As Moreh Baruch was saying, I myself too have somewhat shied away from certain topics, because while trying to be all things to all people, we're doing a disservice to our people. We can still be all things to all people, but all people need to understand that if you're amongst us while we're trying to teach our people, we have to teach truth, total truth, all truth. If it makes you feel uncomfortable because of who we are, talk to the Most High about that. And that's still something that needs to be worked on.
That's right. That's right.
But our people is the one that need to know the reason why we're in that condition, so that we as a nation can rededicate it to the Most High. And we have to stop sugarcoating it and be who we are, not rule with it in the spirit of Ahab and the spirit of love.
Right.
And we have one of our brothers on here right now, 100% our brother. He's been putting messages in the group for you to read all the time when we're on studies, because he's our brother. He loves the Most High. He loves us as who we are and for who we are, and he rocks with us all the time. We rock with him, and he knows nothing but love with us and him. If you sit amongst us, you got to be able to receive and participate the same way that he does. And I know he likes to be quiet, so we won't call his name out, but y'all know who he is. And if anyone else comes out of a Gentile nation that can't accept the truth, we're not presented in an evil or rude way. The way Moreh Baruch presented tonight is just one of those things that hit you like, wow, it's just so clear.
Okay.
It's just so clear, and you just have to accept what the scriptures are. And this is gonna be my closing statement. I see Hakhaiyim and Hakhaiyim, and I want to open up to the elders and the other Marine. And one of the last things, when we thought we were Gentiles, when we were in the church house, when we was going by pagan names such as Jesus and didn't know any better, we still bow and we worship and we prayed in the name. So once we come to the truth and we embrace that, why is it that anyone say they really want to serve the Hebrew Messiah or the true Elohim, the Ancient of Days, and Moreh Baruch took that color all the way back to the Ancient One, If you now find out that he just happened to be black, you ain't gonna love him no more, because we loved him when we thought he was white.
Okay.
We loved him when we was lied to. Now we telling you the truth. If you can't love him, you can't accept the truth.
Wow.
We have to stop being, and see, when we speak in truth, when we're having discussions, we got to bring all these points out. Why is that the biggest thing to hide the fact of who the so-called Negroes or the so-called blacks or the so-called color of the Mashiach is an issue? Every black person is not an Israelite. So it's not about being black, it's about being righteous.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's hidden that the fact that they are dark-skinned, that's Moreh.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
That ruddy, that mahogany, the different shades of that dark red skin. I believe I'm Jacobian too, because I'm black, Baruch. I'm dark. I'm dark, you know. But we have to just teach the truth, and the truth has to go out, and we need to teach the truth clean. And that's what Moreh Baruch did tonight. He did it clean, with no hatred, with no spewing nothing against anyone. It's information. You take the information and do with it what you will do with it, but we hope that it fell on good ground, and that you will not be one that's by the wayside and the adversary come and plucks it out, but you will be good ground and take it and let the Most High grow in you, so that we can fully rededicate ourselves to the Most High. That is our duty unto the Most High. So with that, Moreh, again, thank you for taking the time to come on with us tonight and sharing that powerful presentation. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And Todayah. And can I say one last thing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this is for everybody to know that this PowerPoint was for beginners. There is a lot more evidence of what I'm talking about, especially historical evidence. So don't think that I'm pulling out some spare ones that we can only sparingly find. There is a lot of historical evidence in different books. This is for beginners. This is really just to get people going. I got you, Daoud. I just want to let everybody know this is for beginners, and this is what we need, because like Moreh Samak said, that people are asking, what is this guy talking about? What are they talking about, Israelites? They need something basic that they can chew on and say, look, let's take you through the scripture so you can start looking at this stuff. But after that, you're going to see it's a world of information, historical documents, not by Black people, I'm using that term, but that white people have written to tell us that even to the point of how the Israelites, the Jews, got into the west coast of Africa, which king put them there, ordered them to be put there, right? So, I mean, it gets deep when you start digging, but this is to get you to dig a little bit. But it's a lot more evidence. I just want to let everybody know this PowerPoint is for beginners, and this is something to go through with your families and stuff like that. If you want to say, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Show them the pictures. We like picture books. I love picture books myself. I'll be honest. Show me a picture. Okay, that's what you're talking about. They want to see that. I read to my children, we love some picture books. Show them the pictures and say, this is what they thought they looked like. This is what the people said that the Israelites look like. That's all. We don't have to slander nobody. We don't have to talk trash about nobody. We don't got to do none of that, because the truth speaks for itself. All we got to do is take our stance and say, no, I'm from the house of Israel. You see what I'm saying? I'm from Yaakov. Yes, I am. Let them, whoever them are, think, believe, and do whatever they want, you know. And that's all I had. Okay, Malkiyahu.
Shabbat shalom to everyone. Baruch, you done a marvelous job, brother. I love it. But I do wish that for beginners, that we would go into the beginning where Shechem was taken by the brothers because of Dinah, because we all read the story, we know the story of Dinah. And that when they went to Mizraim with the 70 plus people, those the wives that the other 10 brothers married was the ones from Shechem, which was a Canaanite nation. So I wish that come out more often, but I never hear it. So I just wanted to say that, and I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Toda for that, okay.
All right. At this time, I'd like to open the floor to the elders. We're going to start with the imams as we normally do because we're gentlemen. So imams, do y'all have any words to share or any words at this time before we get ready to close out?
Shabbat Shalom. Moreh Baruch, I'd like to tell you that this was an excellent study, excellent PowerPoint presentation. And it is so important that we, and especially our children, know who we are. I have friends, and even though they're Caucasian, they will tell you, I'm of Irish descent, I'm of the Italian descendant. And it's good for us to know who our descendants are. It gives you a sense of self-worth, and you did a told study. I pray that you'll be blessed and continue to be used.
Toda. Good to hear your voice, Imam.
Imam Newkirk.
Blessing. Shabbat Shalom. I really love that how you brought that out. It was simple. You can understand it easily. And I was just like, I'm gonna pass it on to my grandchildren and stuff because they need to know their heritage. And for years and years, our family have passed on things, and so I have something else to add because I have told them about our people and stuff and where we at in the Bible. But I like the way he brought it down. He gave me a lot more information that I could use. Blessing.
Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom, Ms. Bakat. Excellent presentation. I wanted to share that in 2017, my second trip to Israel, I visited a museum called the Bible Land Museum, Jerusalem. And in the very rear of the museum, with no lights in the ceiling to portray the display, was our people, our history, captivity in Egypt. They had all the signet rings, all the seals, the coins, they had everything there. And they showed us our skin, our hair, our nose, all of that. So yes, there is a lot of information out there that we don't know of. But that was a year for me because I learned through sight and sound. And when I see things and when I read and hear things, I can comprehend it better. And seeing that was powerful. And the fact it was in the very rear of the museum. Most of us, when we go visit museums like that, we don't go all the way to the back. We surface around the front, mid, but we won't go all the way to the back. And it was a huge museum. But our tour guide let us know that it was back there. So I praise Yah for this information. I yield.
Toda, Iman. All right, elders, do y'all have any words? Zaken Eliyahu, Zaken Yaquab, do y'all have any words? Yes, sir, Zaken Yaquab.
Hallel Yah. Moreh Baruch Toda Rabbah for this presentation. In the title, Relighting the Candle. Hallelujah. I just like to say, this presentation hits on so many levels. It hits on so many levels, not just for our edification, but it's sort of like a orphan child being reconnected with his family. You know what I mean? It's like you're going through and you're like, man, all these people, like Iman said, all these people know who their people is. Who is my people? Who is my people? And then all of a sudden, I remember that movie, Antoine Fisher. And remember towards the end where He found out who his people was, and they brought him in the room, and the elders was there, and the aunties, and this is how I felt when I started to grasp who I am in these scriptures, and so the way you brought it out, it's like it's relighting that candle. Hallelujah. A couple more points I wanted to make. Like you said, this is kind of like the basic information, like the starter kit to reconnecting to who we are, and there's so much more out there, but and I'm just going to speak for me. When I start, like you said, reaching out and connecting these scriptures with historical facts, it's like discovering a diamond or coming across a gold nugget. You just want more. You just want more, and you keep searching and keep searching, and every time you hit on something, I mean, for me personally, it just re-energizes, and reconfirms and really, like you said, makes me bold again, but not aggressive anger. It's just like, wow. It's like, wow, when you start to connect these scriptures with historical facts, and it just drives you to do more and more. And one more point, actually two more points, but then I'll close. I mean, I'll finish. A lot of times in Christianity, when I was growing up, when the subject would come up with who Yahusha looks like, is he, we know he's from the tribe of Judah, but it really don't matter what he looks like, and then when we go to that revelation, they say, well, that's just a vision, but right in the scripture, John says who he recognized. I mean, John knew Mashiach, and he says, what I saw was who I knew as Mashiach, and this is what he looked like. This is what he looked like when I knew him, and this is what he looked like in the vision. So, and then of course, the Most High says that we do have to be concerned with the facts of what he left of his son. We do need to know that, as the scripture says he is. So it is important what he looks like, but it's not just to say you guys are liars and you're not the real. Like you said too in this presentation, that it ain't about who's not Yisr'ael. It's about who is Yisr'ael, and that's a pedigree. Like Ima said, people can trace themselves back to Louis the 13th, and my family comes from, Napoleon Bonaparte and all of that. And we kind of like the orphan, like, well, where's my people? Where's my people? And then when we start to find our people, that's power. That is power. That's why I'm saying it's hitting on so many levels, And then one more thing, and I'm done. Before Moreh Sadaka passed away, he and I got into a deep search for who is Edom, who is Edom, and we were going for months and months and months, searching history and trying to make it line up with scripture and all of that. And we kind of left off abruptly with Japheth, and I'm not saying Japheth is Edom, but I'm just saying everything we started researching was leading us towards Japheth and Edom, and we never did get to finish. But that's historical. There's historical facts. Well, I'll leave it at that. But you dig in, and it just strengthens you, because now you're connecting not only with history but the scriptures. You can see the scriptures come alive, and not just looking at it from outside the window, looking inside at those people. Those people are us. So powerful PowerPoint, powerful message, relighting that candle. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Toda Zakain Eliyahu.
Baruch Hashem, Yahuwah.
Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah. This was an excellent expose, foundational, principled, much needed for our people. As I was listening, I was thinking back when in ignorance of who I truly am as it relates to what the scriptures would say, I was, as the old saying goes, happier than a fat rat in a cheese factory just to be someone that was grafted in to the root. But here in these last, this last decade or so, to find out that you're actually the root has been revolutionizing, but very, very reaffirming that Yah keeps his word. And I'll just end by saying this. For those of you who've ever read The Prince and the Pauper, it's about children that were switched at birth. And the prince was being raised and reared up, thinking himself to be a pauper, when in fact, he was the prince or the heir to the throne. And so while it appears that that swap is in full display and has been for quite a while, the switch, the rightful switch will take place. And all I can say is, allow Yah. And like the brother said, this isn't about putting down any particular ethnicity or group or groupings of people. It's about identifying who we are, and more importantly, whose we are, so that we can be what we were called to be and get this thing righted. I yield.
Toda for your words, Kane, and you always have a smooth way with your words. Toda for the visual of the Prince and the Pope. That was very well put, Zakane. Hallelujah. As Baruch said, we like them picture books too. I like them visuals. So your words are always very visual, Zakane. Toda. All right, before we close out, I'm gonna of course, since Moreh Baruch presented tonight, he get the last words of the night. But Moreh Dawood, is Moreh Dawood still on? Or did he just drop off? Moreh Dawood, do you have anything before we ready to close?
Okay, shalom, Mishpachah, Shabbat shalom, Moreh Baruch, as usual, neighborhood Moreh, just make sure that you keep spinning the block, neighborhood Moreh, if that's what you're gonna be called. To make sure you keep spinning the block of the dome. Always a pleasure to see you in a coat, Azaria, shalom, a coat. This information is not to be just amongst us, as you said. Our people we need to catch them while they're leaving the church, but I would say that we need to catch them while they're in the church as well. I believe we spoke a while ago about possibly going on a quote unquote tour to these churches. Not to debate anything. We're only here for what they say as a disclaimer on YouTube. This is for educational purposes only. We're not here for debate. This is just to educate our people about what has occurred, and then we're gonna leave. Just like Eliyahu, he walked past Elisha and threw his mantle on him and just kept walking. That's all we're doing with information. We walking past you, we throwing this information on you, and we keep walking. And only if the Most High pulls you towards us will you follow. Because right now, Kyrie, Kanye, so on and so forth. So many of our spokespeople who don't live this way, but as you said earlier, donkeys talk. So now our people just want information to back up what that is. And this is definitely a portion of that. So I just say total about to you, Adon. Please keep doing what you're supposed to do, so the Most High can continue to increase you and make your light bright. Because through you getting esteemed by the people, the Most High gets esteemed. So total out of you in the Mishpachah, Shabbat Shalom with Lila Torah family.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Toda Moreh, Toda Moreh. Moreh Baruch, I'm turning it back over to you. Again, my brother, all praise, honor, esteem to the Most High. Great job. Thank you for taking the time to come on tonight and present before the Mishpachah. Because like you said, it was, as Zaken Yaakov said, we needed a candle relay. It definitely ignited something in myself again too. Because like I said, we haven't been going into these topics like this anymore. We're teaching commandments and stuff, but that was very well put tonight, Adon. So if there's any closing statements that you have, Moreh, you make the closing statements. You can turn it over to Sar Yohanan for the closing Templar right after you finish. I love you, Adon. Toda for your service.
Okay, hallelujah. Toda, I love you too, my brother. Definitely do. Toda, Yah, you know what I'm saying? Everything that I do, everything that I say, everything that I teach is because Yah puts on my heart. Maisha is here to vouch for that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all put it on my heart. I usually have a conversation with her before, and then y'all hear it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be later, a year later, a month later, it's everything I do is because y'all put it on my heart. You know what I'm saying? To do it. So he put this on my heart back at COI. I put it in the archives, and then I had to pull it back out because y'all told me to teach my children, and then they were very enthused and motivated afterward, you know, so they were enlightened. And I didn't even realize that they didn't even, I didn't realize that they didn't really know. They just knew because I say that we Israelites. And I don't want it to be just because I say we Israelites. That's how they know they Israelites. Now they know, you know, they've seen it. And it makes it that much harder for the enemy to snatch it out of them. Because guess what? Sometimes you get older and the enemy snatch things out of you. Things don't matter no more. So we got to keep reinforcing this with each other. Yah is our strength, and we become a strength to each other. You know, let's continue to be a strength to each other. I love each and every one of you on here. I've met most of you, but some of you I have not. Looking forward to meeting with you. We're going to keep it going because we got a mission to do. I'm a fisherman, you know, so I'm out here to get my people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm going to do. Y'all gave me my task and my role in this life, in this span of lifetime, and I got to accomplish it. Me, my Isha, my family, we're going to do what y'all say do. So I just pray that all of you on here have that same mind. If not, it's okay to get that mindset. You know, sometimes we think because we don't have this mindset that we can't get it. It's time. It is time for us to stand up, for us to start doing what we're supposed to do, for us to start living authentic lives, okay? And walk boldly in the authority and the power that has been given us by the creator of all things. Don't worry about the what my brother said? Don't worry about the world. You know the owner. You don't have to worry about the world. Yahshua tried to tell us that. You know the owner. Your daddy owns the world. Your daddy owns the entire world, the universe, and all of it. What can man really do to you? If we're going to read this word, we're going to have to pull it to use. We're going to have to really stand upon the principles of what Yah say do and believe in it with our whole heart. You can move mountains. You can. We can change it up. We are raising princes and princesses. You understand? I like that Zokain Eliyahu said that about the prince, and I forgot what he said, but I never read the story and the what pop, but it was just, it brought the visual to me. In the book of Proverbs, it says that it says that luxury is not fitting for a fool, neither is it fitting for a servant to rule over princes. You understand? That's why you don't fit in. That's why things don't be setting right. It's not fitting for servants to rule over princes. Most High trying to tell us that y'all are you the top. Whatever the top is, you are it. You are on this line. Stop living on the bottom. And that starts with the changing of the renewing. Let me say it right. That starts with the renewing of your mind. Part of the renewing of your mind is acknowledging who you are and whose you are, which tells you the what you're supposed to be doing and how it's supposed to get done, when it's going to be done, and why. It answers all the questions that we have in life. I don't know my purpose. Now you do. I don't know how. Now you do. I don't know when. Now. It answers all the questions. I've never been in a state in my life where most of my questions have been answered. I know now. I get it. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know where I'm going. So I just want to acknowledge and admonish everybody on this line. Relight the candle and let it burn. And if it burns somebody, it's fire. Fire sometimes going to burn people that are not equipped to be around it, or not, they in the wrong spot or in the wrong place. Sometimes it burns people. You can't apologize for who you are. It says he makes his ministers what? Flames of fire. That's what it says in Tehillim. Making his messengers, his ministers, flames of fire. Flames burn and they give light. So, like I said, love y'all. Pray that everybody have a blessed night, blessed Shabbat, a blessed Hanukkah, and let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. At this time, turn it into the hands of my brother. You got anything? Any work? Turn it in the hands of my brother, Sarah Yohanan.
Hallelujah. Toda ya for your life, though. My Moreh, man. Oh, man, I tell you one thing, man. When I first came in this walk and I met you and your Isha, man, you just feel the love and the ruach of the Most High with y'all too. But one thing I gotta say that you always say that ever stuck to me from that time to now, that all the children of Israel from the four quarter earth need to take account for is, don't take your word, like you say, don't take my word for it. Do your research. It's out there. One of the old saying is, if you don't want them to know something, put it in the book. Not all the information is on the internet, but they know they got a mentally programmed that we're not going to even research this stuff on the internet. We were researching all that mess that's going on out in this world, but it's out there now. They are bold even putting it out there for you to seek, but they know you ain't going to seek it. So it's Toda Yah for putting that out. And before I pray out, Adon, we need to try to see if we can schedule, get you on for you and your Isha to do another part 2, because we need some more of that information out that you have done. So Azaria, yeah, get it together, get that PowerPoint together. We're going to have y'all back on. Love y'all, man. Looking forward to seeing y'all. Let's stay to the Eve, pray out. Hallelujah. 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 That's the high praise to our Elohim, Yahuwah, Zavarot, El Shaddai, El Elyon. We want to say Toda Yah, Toda Yah, Toda Yah for getting us to another Shabbat, Abba. Getting us through the week, Abba. We are here living, breathing the bread of life because of you, because of the love and the protection that you continue giving us, your children from the four corners of the earth, Abba. Toda Yah, for your divine power, for your divine love that you show to your children, Abba. For your divine wisdom that you instilled into your children, Abba, to seek that knowledge, to seek that understanding, to seek who we are as a people, as the children of the Most High Yah. We want to say Toda Yah for waking up your children, for us to come back to our original culture, Abba. To know that who we are. Before they stole our heritage, stole our cultures from us, as they try to hide all the wickedness that they did through the Greek captivity, as your children, as reading through the Maccabees, and we is trying to rededicate ourselves to you, Abba, that we are learning why, that all the captivities that we'll read about in this book that we call the Bible, why they took out the Greek captivity, Abba. Even when we was in Babylon, even when we was in Mizraim in Egypt, Abba, in the captivity, Abba, we were still able to worship our Elohim, still able to hold the feast, Abba. But when we came into that Greek captivity, Abba, they took away the temple, Abba. They took away our culture, Abba. They try to take you away from us, Abba, to worship their mighty ones, Abba. They was killing your children on your Shabbat, Abba. When your children are trying to keep your Torah, your set apart commands, Abba. And that's why we see why they took out that Greek captivity, Abba, and don't want us to know, Abba. Toda Yah for all your shepherds, your Morehs, your leaders out there, that you open the eyes to lead your children from the four corners of earth, Abba, that are trying to bring us back to you, to break the lies and seek through the lies that it was lying to your children, Abba. Abba, yes, it was a lot of us, our doing, Abba, that brought us away from you, Abba, that brought us away from our culture, Abba, for our disobedience, for us breaking the Torah, Abba. And we did hit that, got that punishment for 400-something years, Abba. But you is now is breaking us out that punishment, Abba. You are showing that unconditional love, Abba, with conditions, Abba. That we are coming back to our Elohim, to our Father, to our Creator, to our power, the one who gives us salvation, the one who gives us that hedge of light and that hedge of protection, Abba. It's time for us to come back to you, Abba. And this is why you are waking us up, Abba. You are leading us back to the light, Abba, when we was in the darkness, Abba. Not the darkness of night, Abba, but the darkness of wickedness, Abba. Abba, as you can see, they continue trying to oppress their agenda, oppress their culture still, oppress their Elohim, their mighty one on us, Abba. Oppress their traditions, their days that's not your days, Abba. Oppress their ways that's not your ways, Abba. That you are assisting us, helping us to break that cycle, to see through that dark cloud into the bright light, Abba. Toda Yah for never giving up on us, your children. You gave us punishment, Abba. You gave us judgment, Abba. But you give us a chance each and every day we are able to open our eyes to get it right with you, Abba. The right to repent from our transgressions that we commit against you and we commit against each other, Abba. Toda Yah for bringing us as a family from the four corners of earth, Abba. That we are fellowshipping as a family, that we are coming back or coming together on your feast days together, that we are rededicating ourselves to you as a mishpachah, as a family, which I know it brings joy to you, Abba, to see your children growing together in the name of the Most High Yah. Hallelujah. Let your children esteem you. Let your children praise and worship you. And let your children continue honoring you. And never to break your commandments. Blessed be the name of Yahuwah Elohim. Blessed be Yahuwah Elohim. And blessed who come in the name of Elohim. Hallelujah. 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 Amen. Shalom.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right, Lala Tob, everyone.
PNA Shavua Ata.
Lalato.
Lalato.
Hello.
Alato.
Light of